knock in the night. They say the darkness holds secrets. Some quietly die. Some are buried by lies. But every so often, a secret claws its way out. It was November 1st, 1994. In Boulder, Colorado, at a modest apartment complex, Marty Grisham, 49, heard something at his door late that evening. A soft knock. Pause. A moment's hesitation. He opened the door. Before he could fully register what was happening, a volley of gunshots, for fatal rounds to his head and chest. He fell there in the doorway, bleeding, alone. The case went cold. The city whispered of ghosts in the evidence. Decades later, new revelations forced the case back into the light. Tonight, we dive into that night and the twists, betrayals, and DNA secrets that followed. The man, the setting, the setup. Marty Grisham, quiet, private, vulnerable. Marty was a man of routine. His life was simple. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't flashy. Boulder wasn't exactly a crime capital. But in the mid-1990s, noise about crime and drugs sometimes drifted from the mountains. He lived in an apartment that many would pass by, never noticing. But for someone who knew his habits, his comings and goings, it would not be hard to predict. To the outside world, Marty's life offered few clues. But to someone who wanted access, someone quiet, someone trusted, those clues were everything. The knock, the gunfire. Neighbors later reported hearing the shots around evening hours. The doors in that apartment corridor were close, the hallway thin. The assassin or assassins had to act quickly. One hypothesis: the killer used the knock to draw Marty out or to lull him into a sense of safety. The silence after the knock would feel natural. Then the gunfire, sudden. No warning, no time to react. When the police arrived, there were no obvious footprints in the snow, no eyewitnesses stepping forward. The trail was faint. The investigation, clues, missteps, and suspicion. The Boulder Police Department opened the investigation, scavenging what forensic and circumstantial evidence they could. Over years, the lead would shift. New suspects whisper into suspicion, but nothing definitive would lock the case shut. Enter Michael Clark. 17 years later, in 2012, prosecutors arrested Michael Clark, charging him with Marty's murder. The case against Clark was built on several pillars. Clark allegedly had a connection to Marty's daughter. She had once given him access to help care for Marty's cat. It was asserted that Clark had forged checks or withdrawn roughly $4,500 from Marty's account prior to the murder. The pivotal piece: DNA evidence. A Carmex lip balm was found outside Marty's apartment. Forensic analysts claimed it bore DNA consistent with Clark. The prosecution's star witness was Yvonne "Missy" Woods, an analyst with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, who testified about the DNA match with Clark. At trial, Clark was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. To many, the case seemed closed. To others, there lingered a phantom of doubt. Cracks in the DNA, a lab under fire. Years would pass. Then, shocking revelations. In 2023, DNA analysts discovered that Missy Woods had mishandled, tampered with, or falsified DNA evidence in over 1,000 cases across Colorado. Her misconduct shook the foundation of forensic trust in the state. In Clark's case, his defense argued, Asterisk, the original DNA swabs had been compromised. Asterisk, Woods's methods were deeply flawed. Asterisk, jurors may have been misled. Asterisk, Clark's trial counsel was ineffective in testing or challenging evidence. The district attorney's office requested an independent retest of the DNA evidence using a neutral lab, including reswabbing of both interior and exterior surfaces. When those new results came in, they deviated from the original. The DA's office concluded that the integrity of the prior conviction was irreparably in doubt. On April 11, 2025, Clark's conviction was officially vacated. Clark was released on bond, free for the first time in years. A new trial looms, tension in the courtroom. But the story is far from over. In September 2025, prosecutors announced they would retry Clark for Marty's murder, arguing the remaining evidence still can support a conviction. The motions hearing is set for February 23, 2026, with a tentative trial for May 2026. Defense attorneys are preparing for a fierce battle. They plan motions to dismiss based on outrageous government conduct and to challenge prosecutorial tactics anew. Meanwhile, the DA insists there is other evidence sufficient to prove Clark's guilt beyond reasonable doubt. The stakes are enormous. Asterisk, if Clark is retried and convicted again, many will see it as vindication. Asterisk, if the DA fails, it may cast serious doubt on the ability to retry cases tainted by forensic misconduct. Asterisk, for Clark, it is a life hanging in balance, yet again. Asterisk, for the memory of Marty Grisham, and for those who believe justice deserved finality, it is a painful uncertainty. Epilogue. Secrets, shadows, and the pursuit of truth. Tonight, as the lights in the YouTube studio dim, we face the ghost of that night in 1994. Asterisk, a man knocks. Gunshots answer. Asterisk, a crime scene becomes the battleground of lab science, courtroom strategy, and human error. Asterisk, a conviction stands for over a decade, then crumbles when one lab technician's integrity is called into question. Asterisk, and now, after all the dust, the justice system must ask, can we ever truly reconstruct truth from flawed fragments? The next chapter hasn't been written yet. Will Michael Clark walk free forever, or will the jury find him guilty in the second act? And more hauntingly, who knocked on that door in 1994, wielding the gun? That's the mystery, that's the tension, and that's what I want all of you watching to remember.